On today's show, Cooper Flagg can absolutely be a top 50 player in his first year. We'll tell you what it means if he does and if he doesn't on today's Locked On Mavs. Stop it! Let's go! Stop! The number one pick will go to the Dallas Mavericks. Cooper Flagg will fly in Dallas.
Dogs, all of us, all five.
You are Locked On Mavs, your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Still can't leave.
Your team every day.
I'm going to give a city like that.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks, your team every day. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member covering the Mavs for 10 years. Thanks for being in every day or making Locked On Mavs your first listen. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins at FanDuel.com. And joining me, as always, my co-host, media member covering the Mavs for 10 years, right alongside me, the top 100 wonder, the One More Thing King. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
I'm so excited for Fantastic Four.
Oh, so am I.
Nick and I were going together this week, and I haven't looked forward to grew up a huge X-Men fan growing up, so that's like my biggest nerd part of me, besides Lord of the Rings. But Fantastic Four was like, I love Fantastic Four more than Spider-Man and Iron Man and all the others, and the movies have, not lived up to that
They've all
love.
been bad. All the Fantastic Fours have been bad.
I'm not gonna lie, as a kid, the whole
the Chris Evans one, like, those were good.
You mean the Jessica Alba ones?
Fair.
But as a kid, but then rewatching them, I was like, oh, dude, these suck. But I'm so excited for this new one. I'm so excited.
I'm very excited. We are going together. We do hang out outside of these little boxes here
we
here Locked On Mavs. Today's episode, we're going to get into, can Cooper Flagg be a top 50 player in the NBA? We'll talk about which players he's in the league with. We'll talk about what it means for the Mavs, what it means for him if he gets to that ranking, and what he would have to do, like what skills would have to pop for him to reach top 15. So we'll talk about all that. But let's start here, Isaac Harris. You start going through, and Locked On is currently doing a top 100 players list right now. We're doing our own. We're going through, and they asked us to just go through a name, like your top 3 to 4 players that you think could be in a top 100. And we did put Cooper Flagg in that list. We put him third on the Mavericks. We put Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, Cooper Flagg, and Dereck Lively, PJ. I think I threw Gafford in there too, just to like throw another name for the Mavs in there. And for Cooper Flagg, it is possible. It is very possible for him to be in that top. He's definitely going to be a top 100 player to me. I think I would be surprised if he was not in the top 100. You start looking around. I just took everybody's top 3 on the board for our top 100. That's 90 players. This is not a perfect list at all, but I just took their top 3. That's 90 players. And the players he would have to be around in the same league with are like Jaden McDaniels, Kristaps Porzingis, Mikal Bridges, Lou Dort, Jalen Suggs, PJ Washington, Fred VanVleet, Nesmith, Cam Johnson, Bradley Beal, DeAndre Ayton, Dylan Brooks. Like, I can totally imagine a world where he's better than a lot of those players next season. And that's top 100.
So you said Lou Dort. Ryland put Lou Dort over Chet or Jalen Williams?
No, I took everybody's top 3 off.
Oh, okay.
So these are players that are like the 4th best player on a team somewhere. Like,
do we need to phone a friend right now?
I could absolutely see this happening. And then I took it to the top 50. I narrowed it to like 56 players. And now this is where you get to decide. You listening and us, we get to decide, can Cooper Flagg get in this class of player? This is around where the 56 players, top 56 are. OG Anunoby, Amen Thompson, Desmond Bane, Derek White, Brandon Ingram, De'Aaron Fox, Julius Randle, Jalen Johnson, Zubats for the Clippers.
It's so funny that you said these names because you obviously have the insider info of like what some of these rankings could be. Because I wrote down a handful of guys that I think is in that range and play like the 3-4. Yeah. And you said a lot of names that I have.
Well, so I went through the 2K ratings too. So I went through 2K ratings. And I pulled 45 to 55. You ready for this? Can Cooper Flagg be in this class of player? This is the question you got to ask yourself if you think Cooper Flagg can be a top 50 player.
Yeah.
45, Jamal Murray, Derek White, Şengün, OG Anunoby, Austin Reeves at 49 for 2K. Amen Thompson, Norman Powell, De'Aaron Fox, Julius Randle, Brandon Ingram, Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, I think some of those names are kind of tough. I think we've both been in the camp. We think Cooper's going to be really good in year 1. Really good in his own way, right? Like not really good as far as averaging, 28 a game. but a really good winning type of player. And so when I look at some of those names that you mentioned, I try to look at some of the three, like the 3-4 type of guys that I think is in that, if we're talking about top 50 range, that's in that 45 to 55 range. And I wrote down OG. I wrote down Scotty Barnes, Jalen Johnson, like you said. I wrote down Jaden McDaniels. I wrote down Avdia, Mikal Bridges, Trey Murphy. Markkanen's probably too good for that. Aaron Gordon's probably too good for that.
Markkanen wasn't too good for it last year.
Yeah, no, that's true. And so for me, I kind of like hone in on like three names that if Cooper Flagg is going to be a top 50 player next year, I think it's like one of these routes. It's like an Avdia, Jalen Johnson, or OG. And I think OG is like the highest range of possibility for him in year one, or like a Jalen Johnson. Like OG is the type of role you look at and say, all right, I think it can be that type in year one because OG's playing off these other guys, Towns, Brunson, even another like Mikal Bridges and stuff. He has this defined role. The offense of like creation might be the thing he needs to like improve on the most at times.
But OG had a 40-point game last year. Like he can
and he averaged what, like 18 points a game or something like that. So like if you tell me that Cooper averaged 18, 19 points a game in year one, I think that's pretty good. And then you look at a guy like Jalen Johnson, which I think was around that like 19, maybe 19 and a half before his injury and stuff. I think you look at a guy like that, the Hawks weren't very good, but he had such an expanded role. A lot of the stuff that Jalen Johnson did last year, I could see Cooper Flagg doing that this year. And people were raving about, I mean, before he got hurt, there are some people who are like, is Jalen Johnson going to be an all-star in the Eastern Conference? So I think Cooper is that good that I think he can be in that type of range as far as a top 50 player. If you told me top 40, I would say no. I think that's a little too high. But I think there's a path for Cooper in this year one from both sides of the ball, like an OG Anunoby, from both sides of the ball to where he's playing really good defense and versatile defense against some fours. He's switching off on some fives at times. He's holding his ground on some perimeter guys. And then he's also having some nights where he is scoring, high 20s into the 30s at times, but it's not every night. He's playing like, and I could just see that type of role in him coming in at like a 46 or 47th best player in the league next year. And that would be awesome.
Absolutely, it would be awesome. I wanted to share the Ringers top 100 too, because just to give you a third list of like. Are
we allowed to mention another?
Well, the Locked On Top 100 is not out yet.
Okay, I was trying to be a company man. I wasn't going to mention any.
Correct. I know. Well, we already mentioned Locked On, so we're putting us in the same world.
Okay. That's true.
So 46, Scotty Barnes. 47, Desmond Bane. 48, Jalen Johnson again. 49, LaMelo Ball. 50, Draymond Green. 51, Tyler Hero. 52, Julius Randle. 53, Lauri Markkanen, Austin Reeves, Rudy Gobert. That's the range. A lot of the same, we're talking about a lot of the same players, and a lot of these guys are these guys that have really good impact one way, right? You talk about Norman Powell, Amen Thompson, OG Anunoby. You could do some things on both ends. You've got to be competent on both ends, but you're really somebody that brings a lot on one end of the floor. You're not an all-star where you're great on both ends of the floor. And I think Cooper Flagg can absolutely do that because that's where the threshold is for that 50, top 50 player is you can be really great on one side of the ball. And I think one of them will pop for Cooper Flagg.
And that's where the Jalen Johnson thing comes in. And I don't know how many Mavs fans watched Jalen Johnson before the injury last year, but there's a lot of his game of how he was playing last year that I could see that is for year one Cooper Flagg. I mean, he was a highlight reel, like in transition on offense, some massive blocks. Now, Jalen Johnson was a heck of a rebounder. So, and I think obviously Cooper has that in him, but there's so much energy and athleticism on the wing, two-way guy, can get buckets and stuff too. So that's if I had to hone in on I think Cooper's going to have the ball in his hands a little bit more than like what OG would have typically with like a Brunson and Towns and stuff. Yeah. So if I had to even go to like one player, I'm looking at Jalen Johnson and saying, I think Cooper Flagg can be that in year one.
Yeah, or bring what Julius Randle brought to the Timberwolves. You handle the ball a little bit, you attack. but then he's going to be better defensively.
I was going to say better defensively than Randall.
I think already, but have the same level of impact as some of these guys. And so coming up, let's talk about that level of impact, because I think that's the big thing that would come for him if he's going to be his top 50 player. Is he brings that level of impact? What does that look like? What kind of skills have to pop for him? We'll talk about that and more coming up. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. FanDuel's got all kinds of props and odds you can use to get in on the action and talk about and follow your favorite teams. We got a Cooper Flagg one right here. They got a Cooper Flagg tab on FanDuel right now. Cooper Flagg to record a triple-double in any game in the 2025-26 regular season, minus 115. So it is like you get like that is going to happen according to FanDuel, that he will get a triple-double at some point. That just talks about the versatility of Cooper Flagg. I think that's absolutely awesome. Cooper Flagg to record 2 triple-doubles in any game, plus 440. To score 40 in any game, plus 320. That actually isn't that bad either. That one is fascinating to me. They have Cooper Flagg to score 50 in any game in the regular season, plus 3,000. That one is fascinating. If you feel confident about any of those, put down $5. If it's your first $5 and you win that one, you get $150 in bonus bets to use anywhere. FanDuel, official sports partner of the NBA. Please gamble responsibly.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad. That's what we call our listeners. That's what we call you listening. Part of the Raccoon Squad. Welcome. We've got a text line, 214-643-8637. There's a link in the description. It's subtext.com/LockedOnMavs. You can go there and subscribe. We send all kinds of stuff out, answer questions. We'll do all that during the offseason, doing mailbags, Q&As, and all that. So subscribe to that. Help support the show. We're talking about Cooper Flagg. I think for sure he can be a top 50. He's for sure going to be a top 100 player to me.
Yeah.
You start going through the names, and you're like, yeah, I think he can be in the same class as go to the bottom of the Ringers top 100. Tumani Kamara, Herb Jones, Jalen Duren, Jalen Green, Jordan Poole, Bradley Beal. These are like the kind of flawed players, but that are still bringing a lot on basically one end of the floor, right?
I mean, you can't put Cooper Flagg in the same sentence as Wemby and Zion and these other top number 1 overall picks, and then say he's not going to be a top 100 player in year 1.
Yeah, right. And you're saying, well, the expectations are so high for him. Yeah, they are. Yeah, he's lauded as one of the best number 1 picks we've had in a while.
They're pretty high going into Duke also. And
right. He's really great at a lot of things. There was a bunch of teams that were tanking for him. There was a bunch of teams that were mad as hell at the Mavericks for getting the number 1 pick because Cooper Flagg is that good. So we talk about the players he's in league with. What does it mean for him if he gets to be in that top 50 status? To me, I think the skills that have to pop for him to reach that top 50, I think his defense has to stand out. And he has to be an impact defender right away. Like, I just want to start with that you feel him defensively, that you're like, oh, we are going to have a problem tonight because Anthony Davis and Cooper Flagg are defending on the other end, right? He has to be included in those sentences when people talk about the Mavericks and talk about their defense.
Yeah, I thought about this a lot, and I was like, all right, if he's a top 50 player, what would have had to happen for him? And I wrote down 2 things. His free throw percentage is high. Like, it's pretty good because I think if there's one thing that I feel like I could lock in for year 1 Cooper Flagg is he's going to get the free throws. Like, I feel like he's not going to where a guy like Luka would do step back threes and stuff and be really efficient with it.
Are you still talking about Luka?
Cooper? Well, no, it's just like, I mean, we're always going to like, just like we talked about Dirk forever. Cooper's not going to do the step back threes. So Cooper is going to get into the paint. We even saw it at Summer League. I mean, he's going to drive and get into the paint and draw contact and get fouled. So if he's a top 50 player, that means he's like hitting his free throws. He's hitting his free throws at such a high clip that teams aren't just like hacking him when he gets down low. Because if he sucks at free throws, then it's like, which he's not going to, like, he's fine. And then the other thing is, if he's a top 50 player, for me, I think that means he's further along offensively than what a lot of people thought. Because I think a lot of us are expecting him to be an impact defender year 1, like right off the bat. I do think rookies in general don't get the respect from like referees and stuff. So there's going to be a lot of dumb stuff called on him in year 1 because he just hasn't garnered that like respect to get the whistle, as like, he's not Caruso yet. Caruso can get away with anything. Dort can get away with anything. Chris Paul can get away with anything. You know, Cooper hasn't been in the league at all. So he's going to get fouled and stuff or get calls against him. But it's going to be if he's a top 50 player, it means he's more efficient on the offensive side than what a lot of us thought, because I think a lot of people look at him and say that's going to be the last part of his game that reaches like an elite level is his offensive side of the ball. And if that's good, above average in year one, then he's definitely a top 50 player.
I think we're kind of saying the same thing on either side of the ball. He's got to be solid. If you're solid on both ends, I think you could be a top 50 player.
Yeah.
Because like the guys that are towards the bottom of the top 100 are good at one side of the ball or the other. Tumani Kamara, Herb Jones, Jalen Green, Jalen Duren, Jordan Poole, Bradley Beal. Those are the Ringers' bottom 5. And you're like, yeah, those guys are good on one side of the ball or the other. But if you bring both ends, then that's a player that is solid and impactful.
It's got to come out on both ends.
Yeah, right. Like it's got to project and eject at the same time.
Here's a question I had for you. Who's going to lead the team in field goal attempts behind Anthony Davis until Kyrie comes back?
I don't think you're going to like my answer. Or maybe you will.
You're going to say D'Lo, aren't you?
It's 100% D'Angelo Russell.
Wait, you talking about, you say D'Lo, David Locke or D'Angelo Russell?
I've never once thought about his name as D'Lo.
That's kind of what I want to start calling Locke now. So D'Lo.
He would take that as an insult, I think, for sure. I think it'll be D'Angelo Russell because I think that's what they brought him in to do.
There's no way, right? Cooper's going to average more shots than D'Lo.
D'Angelo Russell is coming in, and he's in a contract year, basically. And he's coming to run the offense. He's going to have the ball in his hands a lot. And Cooper Flagg is a versatile, team-first guy that is going to always make the right play. And I'm not saying that D'Angelo Russell will not make the right team play and all that, but he gets buckets. That's what they brought him in to do.
Okay, so you look at last year and you look at like...
I think we're going to have a problem with Cooper Flagg being tentative on this team a little more than... Because we saw him on Summer League, and he's with a bunch of like, guys that were not NBA players. And that's obviously a scenario. But maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe his audacity is a little bit higher than I think because of that we keep going back to that Team USA camp, a game that he had where he was just going at it. And maybe he'll be like a guy that comes out and is like, all right, this is my time, and I don't care who's around me. I'm going to take this ball and I'm going to score.
Yeah, so I mean, it's really hard to do this, and I don't typically like when other people do this and be like, "Oh, Anthony Davis takes this amount of shots, so then you have this amount of shots that's opened up, so therefore this."
You do this with minutes. I don't know if you can do this with shots.
For just the ballpark thought here, Anthony Davis he only played 9 games last year for the Mavs. He had 17 shots a game. All right, so. Luke averaged 21 shots a game. So does AD like up the amount of shots he takes a game until Kyrie comes back? Let's just say AD goes up to like 20. Well, Kyrie averaged right at 19 shots a game. You look at like a Dinwiddie averaged 8.5 shots a game. So let's just say it's in that like 20 to 25 range. And that's hard. Like there's a lot of factors that go into this. If you're like, hey, 25 shots are up for grabs a game. How does that distribute out? Like PJ last year averaged 11 shots a game, right at 12. Klay averaged 12 a game. And that's where it's like, I feel like they're going to run enough offensively to where I think Cooper is going to. Would it shock you though if Cooper had more shot attempts per game than D'Lo? No,
it would not. It would not shock me because of what I just said before. He could come in and be like, all right, and the kid will draw up stuff for him, right? Like, yeah, he absolutely will. The development of Cooper Flagg should be the number one thing for this Mavericks team.
Yeah.
All right, here's the rookies from the last like 5 years, the most shot attempts per game for a rookie.
All right, give it to me, baby.
Anthony.
Keep going.
I was about to make a both ends joke. Anthony Edwards, 16.8. Victor Wembanyama, 16.7. Cade Cunningham, 16.1. Paolo Banchero, 15.6. Brandon Miller, 14.6. Jalen Green, 14.2. Jaden Ivey, 13.3. LaMelo, 13. Some of these guys are on really bad teams, too.
I was going to say it's so hard because all those teams suck.
Timberwolves were not as bad. They already had Cat. They had Jaden McDaniels. They had some pretty good players on that one. But
okay,
the rest of those teams
what was Ant at?
He was the highest, 16.8. I mean, he came in and he was like, all right, he's coming into – it was Cat and then it was him to go get buckets, and that was it.
See, I think he's going to hover around that like 15 a game.
Yeah, feels right.
Yeah, something like that. for year one, you know.
Man, now that you say that, now that you say 15, it'd be hard to imagine D'Angelo Russell taking more than that.
It's not hard to imagine for D'Lo.
No, but you also got Klay Thompson, who's definitely going to get shots up. I mean, he is shooting right now. Like Klay Thompson is. Have you seen the video of Klay Thompson and Megan Thee Stallion working out?
Yeah, get that working.
Well, the one where she does the voiceover and he's like in the background, like chiming in. It is hilarious. I was cracking up so much watching that video.
I'm all in on this couple, man. I can't wait for her to show up at a game. I think it's awesome. Good for you, Klay.
D'Lo averaged 11 shots a game last year, 14 the year before that for the Lakers, 13 the year before that for both Minnesota and the Lakers, and then 15. He averaged 18 in 2020. It's been a while actually since he's been a real high volume. So if Cooper Flagg gets 15 shots a game, then I think D'Angelo also takes less. Oh, we really took a left turn on this.
I just had a random question for you. So we just
shots.
Went. I'm telling you, I really think D'Lo's passing and his assist are really going to surprise some people this year. I don't think this is really going to come back to bite me probably. I don't think he's going to come in this year and just go scorched earth and shoot it a million times. I feel like he's going to be a little bit more level-headed with it and seeking out the assist and passing a little bit more.
If you're a Mavs fan that is concerned that D'Angelo Russell is going to come in and be Spencer Dinwiddie, then I think that you can feel better because I don't think he's going to be that. Right? Let's go last.
I don't.
Since 2020.
But I also want to say I do want D'Lo to shoot because he is a good shooter, just not AI numbers.
Well, since 2022, he's averaged 13 shots a game and 6 assists a game. That's a good ratio.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great.
Great. I'll take that.
Great, bro. Great.
And he shot 37% from 3.
It's great. It's great, dude.
It's great.
Dude, it's great. It's great.
Coming up, let's talk about what Cooper Flagg being a top 50 player. That's what we were originally talking about. What that means for the Mavericks if he's a top 50 player. Talk about that and more coming up. All right, we're talking about if Cooper Flagg is a top 50 player. Even if he's top 60, I mean, you're still going to be an impact player. He's still going to be like top 70 even. Like there's still some great players in that range for sure. I think he has to impact winning if he's going to be a top 50, 60, 70 player even. And I think that has to be evident. And you hear a lot. I'm hearing a lot of shows, listening to a lot of podcasts, people saying rookies don't impact winning. So when you talk about the Pelicans, when you talk about Dylan Harper on the Spurs even, when you talk about some of these teams that are going to be playing rookies a lot, they don't impact winning. All right, but Cooper Flagg would have to be a top 50 player.
Yeah, I guess my only pushback is a lot of those teams aren't trying to win and they don't have the rosters to win. So when you throw out the hey, rookies don't impact winning, I feel like I don't have the research in front of me. I feel like if you look down in the first round, and you start looking, I feel like there are some playoff teams and stuff that have some rookies that they get in the teens and 20s. That's like, oh, they're playing a decent role off the bench as a rookie.
Dereck Lively, absolutely one of those players that impacted winning as a rookie.
Yeah, so I just think that statement's a little flawed of like, if you always look at the top of the draft and be like, look at all these top draft picks, they don't really impact winning. It's like, well, they're top draft picks for those teams for a typical reason. Dallas isn't that case because Dallas had the 11th best odds and moved up all that way. So they're like a win now team. So I wrote down this. They're a top 6 team if Cooper Flagg is a top 50 player. Let me say this while you think about it. How many teams could say that they have 2 top 50 players, Cooper Flagg and Anthony Davis, and not be in the top 6? I only came up with like a couple here. Could it be the Warriors with Jimmy and Steph?
Maybe.
Could it be the Grizzlies with Jaren Jackson and Ja? That's obviously dependent on health. I feel like if they're healthy, and this is what you got to say with Anthony Davis and Cooper, I feel like they probably would be because when they're healthy, they're really good typically. And then I think you could say this with Boston in the East next year with
the health.
Jaylen Brown and Derek White. But I just say that to say, like, I think I think it's pretty difficult. I mean, you could definitely do top 8 and say like, hey, if you have two top 50 players, then the percentages of you being a top 8 team are like very, very high. And top 6, that's why I pushed it a little bit. And that's why I've said it. I think a Cooper Flagg is a top 50 player. I think the Mavericks finished top 6 in.
You've convinced me. No, like I think that's true, because I think if you do have two top 50 players like that, then you're just gonna be good enough, because then you have 2 guys to lean on. I think the other thing that what it means for the Mavericks is it's more space for Anthony Davis and D'Angelo Russell and Klay Thompson and others. It takes pressure off of everybody else, right? And so that elevates you. That's why it impacts winning. Is if he is all of a sudden somebody that teams have to look at and game plan for. Okay, we have to game plan for Cooper Flagg on defense. We have to game plan for him on offense. Then you game plan for you obviously game plan for Anthony Davis on offense and defense. So now you're like, okay, you can't game plan for everything, and that's what takes pressure off of everybody else. It sounds obvious, but I think that is what elevates everybody else.
And this might come with it, with saying top 16, but I think if Cooper Flagg is a top 50 player and they have 2 top 50 players that Kyrie is coming back to, then I think they have a really good shot at going on a deep playoff run, conference finals, something like that. Because then you have this like elite. I mean, just look at last year's team. It's kind of harder, but like imagine like a
which part of last year's team?
think about this team if they didn't win the lottery, and you're like, all right, we have Anthony Davis, we have Kyrie Irving, and then let's just say we got OG, and it's like, dang, like we'd be pretty high. Like you have a lockdown guy, like 2-way guy, like an OG with Kyrie and Klay, with Anthony Davis and Lively and all this stuff.
Or
and it's
Amen
like
Thompson. We'd be like, yeah, let's go. We got to bring in Amen Thompson.
So that's why I'm saying it's like, man, like it would be different if Cooper Flagg was like a point guard, right? If Cooper Flagg was a point guard and Kyrie comes back later on and you're like, oh, he's a top 50 player. I wouldn't necessarily say Cooper Flagg if he was a point guard and a top 50 player, like, and he was 6'1" or 6'2", I wouldn't necessarily say that means that they're like going on a deep playoff run, because then you got to figure out how he's going to play with Kyrie and like all this different stuff, position. But because he's at that like 3 spot, probably he can play with AD and Kyrie and all of that. And yeah.
And I talked about it yesterday, playing the double bigs. Like if AD misses time, Cooper slides up to the 4 very easily. And then if AD plays the 5 sometimes, because you need it for certain lineups, you need spacing, you need something else, Cooper slides up to the 4 very easily with Anthony Davis. And all of a sudden now you have this team that can go smaller but still stay big. It's like this oxymoron concept of this lineup that they're going to have next year.
I think we could potentially have some awkward moments with the fans and the team. I think there could be times to where like Anthony Davis is one of
his fan base with what's happened recently.
I mean, I wouldn't say it was awkward. I think it's just
overt.
I think you're going to see at times like Anthony Davis likes to get the ball face up, just get in his stance, like fake here and there, do his thing, rise up over people. I think it could get awkward at times when Anthony Davis takes a break and then it's Cooper and Lively and it's like, let's get up and down the floor.
When Anthony Davis takes a break, it's the funniest way you could put that.
No, I mean like takes a break, like he's taking a breather, like he's on the bench.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. And so he's like,
when he gets injured.
Listen, I think Anthony Davis is really good. I'm not trying to but I'm saying he takes a break in the game. He takes a breather, and they go with a Cooper Lively front court, and they're just running, and like there's highlights, there's oops, and it's so fast paced, and the fans are just gonna be like, oh my gosh, this is crazy, this is the future, this is awesome. And then they put AD back in, and it's like, all right, get the ball, AD, like an elbow and stuff. And
there's going to be some face-up attempts, but I don't think AD gets in the way of that as much as we think. AD is a really good passer. He averaged 4 assists a game last year. I think
they'll play a little bit slower with AD. That's my only thing. I don't think he gets in a way in it. I think it becomes, I say awkward because it's the high-flying young guy sprinting down the floor that like captures like fans like highlights minds. And that's like sexier, I think, for the social feeds compared to an Anthony Davis, face up 16-footer or something like that off the glass. Still really effective. That's where I think it could get awkward at times. Fans are like, oh no, I want the young guys in there, or and then it's just like,
yeah. Well, I think they always do that. We always have, every fan base has the one guy that they're like, you gotta play more. Remember it was Josh Green one year. Remember it was
Reggie Bullock for you.
I have to apologize that you felt that he should have played more.
I do.
This is you with Miles Kelly this year.
I do. Miles Kelly is my guy this year.
You gonna ask Kid after like the third game? Hey, so Miles Kelly's not really playing that much right now.
If Cooper Flagg plays 17 minutes a game, I will ask that question again.
You are on it. All right, I have a couple of small things. One more thing. If he's top 50 player, does that? This one's the hardest one. I don't think I believe it, but defensive second team.
Oh,
too hard, too high up.
That might be too hard.
Yeah, I think it's too hard. If he's top 50
this is well, okay. Tumani Kamara made second team all defense last year.
Kamara was really good defensively.
True. It was Tumani Kamara, Rudy Gobert, Jaren Jackson, Jalen Williams, Zubats. First team was Amen Thompson, Evan Mobley, Draymond Green, Dort, Dyson Daniels. Amen's in his second year. I mean,
I think that's tough. Top 50. If he's top 50 player, I think that means he wins Rookie of the Year.
100%.
Yep. And then here's a sneaky one. If he's a top 50 player, I think it makes Jason Kidd's job more safe. Because that means he maximized every bit of Cooper Flagg in year one.
Are we concerned about Jason Kidd's job? I'm not.
Is concern the right word? Like,
are you concerned on behalf of Jason Kidd? Let's say you're being empathetic towards him.
On behalf of him? Are we sure he? Okay. I'm just saying it's like, are you? I wouldn't say concerned is the word. Are we? Not for sure that he's would you be shocked if he's like, I mean, we haven't even heard about an extension yet. So would you be shocked if next summer, if he's not a top 50 player and things just like it's clunky, it doesn't fit, like he's weird, his role's weird, he's just not comfortable and stuff. Like, would you be shocked if he's removed next summer?
No, I could see him being the scapegoat for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, Lord knows. Well, I mean, we know it's not Nico, so that's where it's like, if he's a top 50 player, I think all these other things about the team success happens. And therefore, I think because of the team success and Cooper Flagg being maximized, I think it's like, oh, well, yeah, it's not even a question going into next offseason.
Yeah. Well, look at what he did with Giannis. Now with Cooper Flagg, he's doing the same thing. That storyline all of a sudden backs him up for sure. Yeah, I think you're right with this.
Doesn't mean we get more Nico quotes claiming that's
100%.
That's the vision.
Now you see the vision.
That's what he was going after all the time.
Fortune favors the bold. I need that as a drop. Why do I not have that as a drop?
I might have recorded those to put them drops on my board.
Well, we got them. They're out there in the ether. They were posted. So
no, I went back and like clipped and recorded just to put them on the.
We got them now?
I don't know. I got to put them on the board.
What do you got on the board right now?
Just some of your stuff.
That's the old. Yeah.
Welcome to Dallas.
Oh. That's a classic.
Yeah. I got some more on there. I got a couple of sneaky surprise ones for you. Waiting for the right moment.
I'm excited. Isaac has a soundboard now. Thanks to a listener, by the way. Gave me his old one, and now was new for me, and then I gave Isaac the other soundboard. So
it's like I just got new clothes for school handed down to me.
That you've had for like 3 months. Guys, thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs. We got great stuff coming all throughout the summer. Slightly will be on tomorrow. We're going to do doing some fantasy draft, and we're going to have some fun tomorrow and the next day. So check back in here, listen wherever you're watching, and watching this, subscribe. Thanks for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.
Dallas is going to get a seat at the table.